So now that my vase is done, I have a big piece of white paper and a smaller piece of brown paper and my vase. So what I'm going to do, this brown paper is going to be like a wooden table that your vase is sitting on. So I'm taking a glue stick, applying glue, making sure I get all of the edges. And then I'm gonna flip it over and stick it down. I'm doing this so carefully to make sure that the corners line up with the corners. So the brown paper is lining up with the corners of the white paper so that I have an edge that you cannot see that white paper underneath. Okay. Now, as an extra detail, this is an option for you. I'm going to use a Sharpie or a brown marker, either one is okay, I'll show you both, to add some texture to the wood. To make it look like this is a real wooden table, I can make these different shapes using lines to help look like the table is made of wood. If you look at the wood table that you're sitting at, you can probably see some lines and shapes that look like this on the wood table. So if you want to put in some extra detail to your art, make it look really, really spectacular, you could add in some detail like I'm doing here. And it shouldn't have to take you very long. It can be quick, but it's a detail that can make your art look really extra special. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So next steps, I'm gonna glue down my vase. And I don't wanna glue it at the tippy top here because I wanna make sure that I have room at the top to paint in my flowers. So I'm leaving lots of space at the top for my flowers and putting my vase pretty down low at the bottom. So again, I'm taking my glue. You might have liquid glue or you might have a glue stick. Either will work for this. All right, so now I'm gonna stick that down. Remember, we talked about you're doing it towards the bottom so that you have lots of room for your beautiful spring flowers. Okay, doing my best to stick that down. I can always add some extra glue later if I need to. So now it's time to draw our flowers. So I have paint palette with red, orange, yellow, green, a little bit of blue and white, and I'm gonna start mixing colors to make my flowers. So to start mixing, I'm gonna take a little bit of red and a little bit of white to make a pinkish color. Red is a pretty strong color, so when you are mixing red into any other color, it's gonna really overpower that color with its strength, so you usually only need a little bit of red to start. So I'm gonna draw some kind of bumpy circle shapes for my flowers. When we go in nature, you never see a flower that's a perfect circle. Think about maybe roses or other flowers that you might see. They're kind of bumpy circles like that. So I have one dark pink. Let's make a really light pink. So I'm gonna add some white to that pink that I already started making to do a light pink. And I'll do this one more towards the bottom. Oh, I love that color. Okay, let's try and mix it up a little. Let's add a little bit of blue. Let's see what happens if I add just a tiny bit of blue. Looking to see if I can get a purplish color. Here we go. And if you need an extra mixing plate, you can always get maybe a small paper plate for that extra mixing room. Remember that you want to keep some of your colors pure, so I'm not mixing all my red, I'm not mixing all my white, I'm just mixing little parts of it to make sure that I have enough red paint or white paint or whatever you need so you can use it for your colors later. Okay, and then once your flowers are a little bit dry, we can go in and start adding some details. So I'm going to take some yellow on my brush, and I'm going to create a yellow center on each of my flowers. This yellow center shows where the pollen on your flower is. Another way you could add dots is by taking a small paintbrush and using the back of the paintbrush. That creates almost perfect little dots for this kind of project. So the back of a paintbrush can also work really well too.